part of my job as a spiritual teacher. Let me back up. You know, I used to be a spiritual leader. I quit because it's political. Leadership is tricky. I don't like it. I'd rather lead by example than tell people what to do. As a teacher, however, a spiritual teacher, essentially what I have to do is teach truth. But there's a difference between what's true and truth, particularly if you're going to talk spiritual truth. What's true is that we appear to be different people. None of you came out of my mother's womb. That's true. But the truth is, there's only one spirit, there's only one soul, there's only one of us. And that truth, you can trace it back to Sanskrit, you can trace it back, you can trace that spiritual truth back a really, really long way. We talked about that last week when we talked about racism. It's all based on an illusion of separation. So as a teacher of truth, you could say I am a teacher of light, which I'm sure rather people would hear that. I teach light. It's a little fluffy for my nature. I'm a witch to my boots, although I'm not wearing any at the moment. So my job as a teacher of truth, as a teacher of light, is to sprinkle seeds. One of the worst things a teacher can do, of any kind, is have an attachment to the students' learning. Isn't that weird, considering we have a teacher in the room? It's like, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Jam the knowledge in their head? No. You sprinkle seeds, and if they take root, great. And if they don't, you did the best that you could. That's just life. And yet, it is my passion as a spiritual teacher to transmit, at least verbally, which is really all I can do, what I have found to not just be true, but what I have alchemized in my system. Alchemized isn't the best word. Metabolized in my system as truth. Because deep inside, underneath all of the psychology, in the soul, you know truth. You know truth. But we really don't like truth. Not real truth. We don't like it. Because we know if we actually metabolize truth, our lives will change. And we will feel a loss of control. So our way to control is to cover that truth with layers of illusions. Stories. The stories we tell ourselves. The stories we breathe in from the world of our own victimization, of how we was done wrong. Really, all it's missing is a dead dog, a broken down pickup truck, and some country music. And really, you think about it, the stories we tell ourselves, and the stories that we get possessed by. And oh dear, the political stories just flying around the globe right now. So easy to be terrified. Well, that's what tonight is about. I figured after an eclipse it was a pretty good time, right? That moment of darkness during the day, although we didn't get it a lot on Long Island. I had the pinhole in the paper plate, and it looked like a pinhole in a paper plate. But I figured what better time to really address spiritual truth as light. Now, you can't see in the dark, can you? I mean, there's night vision goggles and shit like that, but that simulates, it's like infrared or whatever, so it is a form of light. If we were to shut off every light in this place and paint the windows black, you couldn't see your hand in front of your face. There's only one window in this room. You know, close that off. You can't see in the dark. You can't know in the dark what's going on around you. The opposite of light is really shadow, not darkness. I know, you think dark, like you hear darkness, you immediately jump to evil and harm and stuff like that. But if you think about it, the opposite of light is really shadow. But shadow is not a thing. It's an absence of light. Think about it. Well, I don't know if this will read on camera, but can you see it? Barely. Can you see the shadow there? Now, is that shadow real? Or is it just something has blocked the light? It's an absence of something. The opposite of truth is not, well, the opposite of true is false. The opposite of truth is illusion. But look at the word illusion. I teach this stuff a lot. Illusion is not real. Isn't that the definition of illusion? Something that's not real. So We are bound in chains of illusion. Now, hold that image for a second. Our pain, our suffering, individually, racially, collectively on the planet, our spiritual pain, our mental pain, our emotional pain, even to an extent our physical pain. We are wrapped in chains of illusion, of our own making. Illusions of our own making. So are we chained at all? If an illusion by definition is not real. But the reason why we choose those chains, well, I used to call them chains of smoke. Chain smoking. I still smoke cigarettes. That you could pass right through them, but you don't. Because they appear real. Because you've invested your life force, your focus, your energy into them.